Welcome to the Wealthworthy Podcast. I'm Trisha.
Hi, I'm Darian.
Thank you for joining us. This week we wanted to talk about taking advantage of opportunities. Now, this week has been a good one just with all the holidays and thinking about what we want out of the new year. And so we wanted to begin the conversation just on making sure that you're taking advantage of those different opportunities that might come your way. And then on our end, the same deal, right? I feel like in these last couple of weeks, the stock market's been on fire, cryptocurrency has been on fire, and I feel that there are a number of different opportunities that are presented to us, maybe in the job front, just different things that we could be taking advantage of that we aren't necessarily paying close attention to. So this is really a conversation for us to be sure that we're doing the type of research that's necessary when it comes time to jump on any opportunities that come our way, right? So are there any things, Darian, that you are looking forward to in this new year?
I think for me personally, it's just finishing the year strong. There's still a lot of opportunity out here to grow in whatever you're doing. There's a lot of opportunity to gain in the stock market and just really just fine tune yourself and finish out this year strong.
Yeah, I think on my end, it's the same. I've recognized a number of things that I could have done differently or opportunities that I could have taken bigger risks on. And so those items kind of lead me to say, you know what, I need to do more research or talk to more of the right people so that I feel comfortable and confident taking advantage of different situations when they come across. Because what I recognize, even when I'm like just casually mentioning different stocks or different cryptocurrencies that I am going to move forward on, it's hard for anybody outside of me to take advantage of whatever I'm saying, because you would have to do your own research. Like, yeah, you could just follow along with someone who you feel is doing a good job at their own investing or at their own career. But for it to be as successful for you, you have to really begin to dive deep. And I say that more so too because, like, especially when we're talking about money, I think money is an easy example to go with, because even if you take somebody's advice, you aren't going to be comfortable giving up or investing, let's say, $100,000 just because somebody else said that that's what you should do, right? Like, you have to get into it and really understand on your own what the benefit is going to be and how you can leverage your money to earn more. Like, it's not going to be a smooth transition, and it's not going to be easy for you to just trust somebody else's opinion. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I took away in the last couple of weeks. Just like yes, I might give advice, but for you to really take advantage of it, you have to be doing the work. So I think that's gonna be one of the big takeaways for next year, just making sure that everything that we're doing and are interested in, we're making sure we're taking the right steps to fully take advantage of opportunities. And of course, it has to be timely. So some of these opportunities that come, you might only have a day or two or a couple hours to make that decision and really, make the change that's necessary for you to take advantage of whatever the situation is. And that's another area where I think I will have to focus more on as well. Just like, you hear about something, what are your immediate steps to take advantage of that? Because a lot of times I think that's another thing that people tend to do, where you hear the advice, you let it sit, let it marinate, and then you miss the opportunity just because you aren't fully taking advantage of it. Would you say that that's something that you've come across recently, Darian?
I would say you have to be open to taking risk. You know, you have to figure out what your risk tolerance is and just kind of go for it. Because I think about it kind of like now we're in the fourth quarter. So anything that you didn't do this year, you're kind of playing catch up. So it's like you may get a portion of these things done in the next, well, really this last week, or you may not. But I think it's just about starting early so that when you do get to the fourth quarter like we are now, you kind of can just coast it out. So like for instance, when the first of the year starts, you pretty much have like the first and second quarter. First quarter, you can kind of get everything, or the second quarter, you can kind of start working. I think the third and fourth should be the part of it to where you just kind of just grinding it out and just coasting out. So like, especially with like stock or anything you want to do, starting your own business, I think it's just about if you can start it before the first of the year, that's good. But if you can't, definitely start in the first of the year during the first quarter. It just makes things a lot easier on you, and then you can really reap the benefit of whatever it is you're doing.
I think it's definitely not a situation where you're simply looking to have resolutions just to have resolutions, but you do have to be intentional about what you want to achieve in the future, right? And the future is right around the corner. So you really do have to make sure that you're thinking through what you're planning to execute on. And when I'm talking about some of these stocks and investments, Darian over here is one of the people that's just like, oh, I'll see what happens and I'll check it out later. And as we're talking now, those are the actions that lead you to like miss out on that opportunity, and you have to find another entry point or think through a different area or time where you can really hop on it and see if it's going to be beneficial to you. So we all have to do our own individual research, and I can't just like, even for what I'm doing, like I'm not taking huge risks on certain things where I probably could take more of a risk, but it's all about feeling comfortable with whatever decisions you're making. And you don't want to take the kind of risks that leave you up at night worried about what's happening and like whether or not your money is still going to be around. But I think that just taking advantage of different opportunities, and like one thing that we've started looking into a bit more is just day trading opportunities, more so because I think that the same elements that you use to day trade are transferable for long-term trading or long-term investing, I should say. And it's useful just for the way that you do your due diligence on some of the stock picks that you might have, or any other investment vehicles that you might be interested in. So that has been useful just for me, being able to make quick decisions on whether something is moving in the direction that I think it should be, or where I think something is in its evolution, right? Like if we're talking about something like Tesla, where you're like, oh well, like people love EVs and people specifically love Tesla, you're thinking through that to say, well, yes, people who have Teslas now, yes, they enjoy it, but like how will people be using those vehicles in the future, whether it's going to be wide scale or not, right? Like I feel like me being able to look at these different day trading techniques kind of gives you a sense of where things are right now, and you can kind of gauge where you think it'll be in the next week, month, years, like what have you. It doesn't have to be all short term, it doesn't have to be all long term, but you can start thinking through what you think the price action will look like. And that has been just helpful in elevating the way that I look at my investments. So it's been interesting. It's definitely a much more immediate and risky action if you don't know what you're doing. So I wouldn't go out and tell people like, yes, just go ahead and start day trading. But I think that learning some of the skill that goes along with it is useful, because especially in this time where you have so many people newly trading, because it's all free commissions now for you to invest in almost any platform at this point. But Like, just because you're able to enter the market easily doesn't mean that you should still blindly go into every and anything, right? Like, you still need to understand like specifics about what's a good buy, what's not a good buy, where you think it'll be in the next couple of years. And this market right now is a little rocky just because we're in the midst of this pandemic. Don't know when we're fully coming out of it, and when we do, you don't fully know what companies will still be around, what companies will continue thriving, right? Everyone's making a guess right now. So if you're going to make your guess, you want it to be an educated one. You don't just want to be following the bandwagon just because someone else is saying you should do something. So all that to say, the gist of your whole investing and your opportunities, taking advantage of different things, you really have to do your own research. You really have to listen to as many people as you can so you can hear opposing opinions and make your own from that. You have to be timely about it. You don't want to just jump on something. You don't want to wait too long to jump on something. And you don't just want to jump in because everyone else is. You want to actually understand why you're taking advantage or not taking advantage of a certain opportunity. But the goal here is just not to completely miss the boat because you're too afraid to take the chance, or you don't understand something well enough to want to take the chance. And we're here to support you in those decisions as we figure out our own. Any final thoughts that you have on that, Zarian?
All I would say is just continue to grow, continue to prosper, continue to have passion, purpose, and finish out the year strong and start the year 2021 even stronger.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us this week. We'll talk to you again next week on Wealth Worthy. Bye.
Bye.